Hello and welcome everybody to this session of going deeper into yourself, into who and what you are beyond the form identity that you are or believe you are. Because there is a form identity without a doubt. There is the physical that everybody can see. You have a body, you have thoughts, you have an emotion. That's all clearly there. But there is also something that goes beyond thought, it goes beyond emotion, it goes beyond who you are on a personal level. And that is the so-called spiritual dimension of life, the transcendent dimension of life. And when people think about spiritual, they often think about something in the mind, but it's the opposite way. It's something that brings you out of the mind and into a vastness that is incredible, deep, infinite, and transcends everything that could ever happen in the universe. It is beyond this world, so to speak, and it's not that our world exists separated from this dimension of beingness. They are much more intertwined. We could say the consciousness, the forms that we can experience in the universe, in the world, are coming out of this transcendent dimension of life, out of the spiritual dimension. Everything comes out of there and expresses itself, and at some point it dissolves again, because there's the law of um, the word is just missing. Wait a second. The law of impermanence is there in life. Everything gets born and at some point dissolves again. We humans, we have a lifespan that is not so long compared with other things in the universe, and it's quite brief. Um, Not so far headed in my life. I'm still uh, not even in my 30s, but I already realized, because of people I know and see, and I like to watch people and observe. Life is not that long, but there's something that is beyond life. There's something that is beyond all of that, and to realize that, to become aware of that, that is called spiritual awakening. It does not mean that you dissolve as a person. No, could happen in a very far future. I don't want to go there now. Uh, could, but now it's just about dissolving the ego inside yourself. And the ego is something, if you're not familiar with this term, ego is something that exists. There are certain thought structures and also often emotional patterns that humans are identified with. They believe they are these thoughts and these emotions. They have their identity bound up in thoughts and emotions. They're not centered in the deeper vastness of who they are. They have their identity somewhere in thought life, and try to find themselves there. And that leads to trying to find fulfillment in this world, which cannot be found. Happiness cannot be found in this world at all. There can be things on a personal human level. You can improve your human life, but ultimately happiness or peace, joy can only exist in you when you are connected to this deeper dimension of life inside yourself. And every human can free him or herself from the ego and become aware of this transcendent dimension inside him or herself. That is the ultimate goal of human life, because it's, of course, on a personal level, you pursue things, you have goals, you want to achieve this or that and become this or that. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it may not work out. It depends on many different factors. But on a deeper level, that is even more important. It's your task, it's the goal of the evolution of consciousness, that you are become conscious of consciousness, that you awaken to the transcendent dimension inside yourself. That dissolves the ego, and it's much more important than any achievement. Because then you are free, and universal mind can use you to create. True creation can happen through you once you are not longer possessed by egoic mind activity, which is the greatest liberation there can be there in the whole universe. The liberation from compulsive thought activity in your mind, which leads to a life that is aligned with this deeper purpose, which contributes to this world, which truly contributes, even if it doesn't look on a worldly level that you contribute much. You are a great contribution to this world. When you are awake, you influence humans around you through your stage of consciousness, which is always the case. And when you are in a state of unconsciousness, you influence other people with this unconsciousness. And when you are in a state of high frequency, you influence people on this level, which is how you contribute to this world. The greatest contribution you can make to this world is this awakened state of consciousness. And there, of course, there are also worldly things you can do. That's wonderful as well. But this awaken is something everybody can do, and is even more important. Because you are then like a walking example of consciousness, and other might be able to join you in that frequency just through, even if you don't teach with words or never talk about it, it could help quite a few people around you to awaken or to become more conscious. And also things like fear dissolve. You lose all fear. You dissolve most of, if you, some people are very angry in this world. You also dissolve that. There may be accumulations in you from the past which are there for some reason, and this transcendent dimension dissolves these uh, often heavy karmic patterns inside of yourself. And then you are a being that is free of negativity, to the largest part, or completely there, because when the mind is still, it doesn't create negativity at all. It just is and is aligned with what is, and then also action comes out of this dimension of consciousness, and you may start to create something and do something, and you can also choose some direction you want to go, but ultimately this direction is chosen by consciousness, but you might think you are doing it, and that's fine. mm, there's this sentence from the French philosopher, I think it was Pascal, that all troubles in the world are created by the inability of a human to sit alone in a room and do nothing. And that points to humans being able to create and have stillness inside themselves, to be aware, to be awake, to be still. They can be in a room alone at home, yes, of course, but it can also be anywhere. It could be in a supermarket, it could be in a on a roller coaster. I don't know why it's just coming to me. Could be anywhere. You can have stillness at any place and time. It's something that is not um, limited by any external factors. You could become conscious through being in prison. It could be that you do bad things, or just get there through bad luck. Uh, but you, let's say you go there because you did bad things, and inside your prison cell, you suddenly awaken to this dimension of consciousness, because you created so much suffering and you couldn't stand it anymore, especially what your mind was doing, that you just slowly or immediately it dissolves. And you're there, and you're just there as a consciousness, observing everything, and that is already, then you have fulfilled your life purpose. Of course, the purpose is not just to realize it once, but then to remain in this state of consciousness and to go on, because life also goes on. That is the fulfillment of life. That is the solution that many humans are looking for a really fulfilled living. The only solution for a fulfilled living is to have this dimension of consciousness in the background of your life, to be aware of the deeper dimension that you are inside yourself, and at the same time living as a human and engaging with this world, having relationships, creating something, some kind of new profession, some kind of form that you are suited to or that you learn, and then consciousness can use you and create, and that on that avenue. Mm. Or you might want to start a YouTube channel and help others and teach others to be present and conscious. Could also be the case. There are infinite possibilities what consciousness is able to do, and once your mind is free, you are that presence, that consciousness, and that then you become a creative human being, a deep and creative human being. All humans that are creative in some area or generally creative in their life are connectedness to this deeper dimension of consciousness. All all creativeness comes from there. They can also only be real creativeness when a human has some access to this transcendent dimension of life. So we could say all creativity is a universal thing. But I don't want to take away something from anyone. So, um, and of course, does not mean that you can now start to uh, create miraculous things just because you are. Doesn't it say, okay, now connected to the transcendent realm and all creativity is there? Can I now create everything? It's a thought that maybe have some makes some sense, because when all creativity is there, I can I, I could have should do capable of doing everything, manifesting everything, but that's not quite the case. The human has to be trained in something, has certain skills and develop them over in time. That so consciousness can use the human to express in a certain avenue. Many things can be learned, and many things can be achieved in that way when you focus enough and put enough time inside. Then consciousness can flow through you and create through you. Then once you are freed of the mind, then there is real sanity inside yourself. That is true. Ultimately, true sanity in the deepest way can only come when a human is connected to this deeper dimension inside themselves. That's the only possibility. Because in all other states, the mind is just in some way unconscious and creates unconsciousness. And then, as soon as you are connected to this deeper intelligence, this universal mind, you are conscious, and that is then the freedom of life. Okay. So thank you for listening, and until the next time.